This is WZRD Chicago 88.3 FM. And we have with us at WZRD via Zoom, Kathy Powers. She has won numerous awards being a community activist. But today, she will discuss with us about disability access at the CTA, the Chicago Transportation Authority. Welcome, Kathy.
Oh, good morning, everybody. It's great to be here to tell you my story.
It's great to have you back, Kathy.
Oh, yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while. Well, you guys have been busy. It's good. It's good. The reason why I've asked to do this, I gotta admit, I asked to do this. I'm at my wit's end, and I'm ready to give up going outside anymore because I can't get anywhere well with CTA. My situation has become so bad that when I get home, like I have to go to sleep instantly. I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted from transportation. So I want people to know, and I hope that we get some feedback on this because I want to know about other people having accessibility issues, if they have given up or if they're thinking about giving up. So I'm just going to tell my story. I'm kind of looking for feedback. I want people to appreciate what a person with accessibility issues goes through. And I'm not asking for solutions or anything. This is a total information thing. And also, I just kind of want to express my feelings about what's happening.
First of all, Kathy, you mentioned that you use an assistive device. Could you tell us about what device you use and how the CTA impacts that?
I use one of the stand-up walkers. You don't see many of them, but I think you're going to because people have decided that maybe they don't like bending over to walk to use a walker. Then I don't have to use a wheelchair yet. It's always, that's always in the offing, but not yet. But I'll tell you something. In a way, people with wheelchairs are better served than people like me. The mavens who build the accessibility seats and stuff on the CTA, they only consider wheelchairs. They don't consider anything else. Which, of course, there's a whole lot more wheelchairs than there are assistive devices like mine. But I can't, I'm at a point where I applied for PACE services, and right now I have a senior disability free bus pass, so I don't have to pay anything to be abused by the CTA. But that's neither here nor there, because if I use the PACE services, one, I have to pay $3 a trip, so that's $6 a day that I don't have. I just don't have it. Maybe on occasion I'd have to. You have to arrange trips on PACE 24 hours in advance. So like it's not. I suppose some people who need to get to work, who are in a wheelchair or have some other mobility issues, maybe they schedule a whole week in advance. I don't really know because I don't know those people yet. People with disabilities really have an incredibly hard time even getting a job, letting alone getting to it. I just think about this. I think about this a lot. It's so hard to get the job, and then you can't get there, and then it just adds to, people with disabilities, we don't want to hire them because they can't get here and stuff. On the PACE services, also, I would need a van, They have taxi cabs that will handle wheelchairs, but they don't handle my device. My device is very tall. Maybe if I were a shorter person, it would be easier. My walker can be folded up. It's a real big deal, let me tell you, folding it up and opening it again. Even if it's folded up, it's very tall and like it won't fit in the trunk of a car particularly.
So it doesn't lower, right? You can't expand it higher and lower it shorter, your device.
Yeah, exactly. And it's big. I mean, if you've seen me on the street, you remember me. People talk to me about my walker. A lot of people talk to me about my walker, and I'm always proud to share news that, you know, it's possible to not have to bend over, and you can breathe better when you're standing up. I have back fusions, so I really can't lean over without pain anyway. And so I'm really glad that these things exist.
Mhm.
Go ahead.
So you try to use this walker, the stand-up walker, and board buses too. Do you still try to do that, or is it just not possible?
It's possible. Anything's possible, Trudy. That's what I believe. But you know, sometimes it just gets to be too much. It gets to be too much. And I don't think that's what the ADA had in mind. You know, the ADA, I live almost on the platform of the Morse Red Line. I mean, I look out my window and there it is. I can't use it. I can't use it because it's inaccessible. And you know, that station was refurbished not all that long ago. Joe Moore was in office, and that seemed to be his big project. And he didn't make it accessible. There's room there for accessibility. There's not an escalator. There's only stairs. And where I live, there's a whole bunch of seniors who live here. We have a lot of senior buildings here. And you ought to see what it's like to try and get up those stairs. The stairs are, you know, it's like three stories straight up.
So and you can look at Jarvis Station as well if we're talking about Rogers Park. Both Jarvis Station and the Morse Red Line Station have the same issue. They're not accessible, and they need to be accessible by law.
Yeah, well, yep. There's a lot of things that's supposed to happen by law that don't. They just don't. And well, I'll start with the CTA elevators. How about that? I report every day on Facebook when I see an elevator out, so that people, my friends on Facebook, if they see it and they're traveling and they need an elevator and it's not working, that they know, at least they know to look at my page to see if it's working. I don't report when they go back up either, because like an hour later they might not be working anymore. So I'm just logging every time that an elevator goes out.
So I'm looking at your Facebook page right now, and we follow you, and we see your updates as every day. 21 hours ago, you posted the Brown Line and Harlem-bound Green Line platform elevator at Washington and Wabash is temporarily out of service. These are the kind of updates.
Right. That's right.
And it seems like you're all over the city.
They are.
So, Kathy, right now you cannot, just to reconfirm, you cannot use the Morse platform because there is no elevator, and there is no way that you could navigate up those stairs with your stand-up walker.
No, I can't. One time I was desperate to get somewhere, and I went out just with my cane, not my walker. Not a good idea for me because I fall. I have a problem with balance and stuff, and I fall. And I got bruises all over all the time anyway. It's just, but the walker really helps so I can go places. But not anymore. I just don't seem to be getting anywhere that I want to go. Now today, right now, there are 7 elevators out as we speak. I just checked the updates. And one of them is Granville. Well, on the north side, I go to Edgewater from where I'm at. So sometimes I'll take the Devon bus around to Loyola, get on the train there, and believe it or not, get off at Loyola, which is the next at Granville, which is the next stop. It sounds kind of crazy, but to take the 36 bus, I would have to wait at Devon and Magnolia. If I took the 155 all the way around to Devon, and that's got to be the most wicked corner in the city. It's cold. The 36 bus doesn't come very often. And so if I take the train to Granville and walk to Broadway, it's easier to stand at Granville and Broadway to catch the bus. As far as weather goes, it goes for heat too. Cold and heat, it's a better trip. But like I can't do that. The last 2 months, either the Loyola elevator was out or the Granville elevator was out, or both of them were out. It's like insane. I was trying last Monday night to get home from Ainsley and Broadway, and I have a writing group at the Bazzazian Library 2 times a month. And my usual course of action is to take the Broadway bus south to come north. I take the Broadway bus to Wilson, get on the train at Wilson, and get off at Loyola. It's a much faster trip. Well, the Wilson elevator's been out now for, I think it's up now, but it's not reliable. It was out last night, I think. It just doesn't. And these are like major places. Belmont is always out, just constantly. And I don't understand that. There's 2 elevators there for south and north. I don't understand why you just can't get on the train. And, Belmont is where you change trains and stuff and get down to the Belmont bus line. It's a big deal. It's a big deal. And I'm really surprised that the residents of that area aren't screaming bloody murder. But see, not everybody needs an elevator. And what gets me is, it just seems to me like nobody cares. Just nobody cares.
Have you tried, have you ever been able to speak at public comment at the CTA board meetings?
Well, now, yeah, I have in the past. And what I got was a lot of lip service is what I got. And what I was speaking about before really didn't have to do with accessibility, because at the time I was kind of accessible. At least I could use the escalators. And the escalators, I have a story. I was at Roosevelt. Roosevelt's out a lot. The Roosevelt elevator up to the Green Line is out a lot. And I got off the train there, and I got up to the mezzanine area and went down. They had all these signs: elevator this way, elevator this way. So I went down. The elevator was out. They were rebuilding it, but they had all these signs up there. They don't ever fix the signs. It's never fix the signs. And so I decided I would try to take the escalator up with my walker. So I got on, and I got like a third of the way up. And I don't know if my wheel turned a little bit and got caught, or if it just got narrower or what, but I fell backwards down the escalator stairs. The people there were very helpful to me and stopped the escalator. And, I was bruised and stuff. I did go to the ER to make sure that, nothing really broke. I didn't think they did. I've just been so lucky. You have no idea how lucky I've been.
Now, I
So
understand that falling down an escalator, they can give you a CAT scan, you can get some deep cuts, that is a serious thing, and you do have to go to the ER. Did you report that to the CTA?
I did.
And what did they say?
They sent me a form to fill out for injury, but I only had bruises. I mean, it's not like I broke anything, and I know from car accidents that if you don't break something, you're not going to get anything. I fell once at City Hall. At City Hall, let me tell you, you have to be really careful at City Hall. The out in the public area, they have the aisles and the seats, and if you don't know, I mean, this could happen to anybody, not even somebody who's compromised. Between the first seat on the aisle and the aisle, there's a depression. And you can't see it. You can't see it because it's, first of all, dark in there. Secondly, the carpet on the floor matches the carpet under the seat. You don't know there's a hole there. And I went to sit there, and I fell because, I had my foot where I thought there was a floor and there wasn't, and I fell over. And that was a big deal. That was a big deal. And I had to go to Northwestern, and it was like, it stopped city council for a while. It's probably the only thing I ever did that would stop city council. But now I guess we don't have to worry about that because nobody's going to be allowed in there now.
Only permitted guests of the alders and the mayor
Right.
can come to the city
That's
council.
so wrong.
Is that
That's
correct?
so wrong.
Mhm.
That's so wrong. They better change that right quick. I mean, first of all, it looks really bad for Mayor Johnson, who is the people's mayor, right? He's the people's mayor, right? I think this was just kind of a knee-jerk reaction. I mean, something does need to have to be done because it gets pretty wild there sometimes, but not this at all. Now, I think the sergeant of arms was the guy who came up with this thing, right? And he I'd say he's a lazy son of a gun. Yeah, when there's disruption, I've gone in there with groups and stuff, and we go in there and we listen for a while, and then we might stand up with our signs, which you're not supposed to do, right? And we get thrown out, and that's it. It's not a big deal. It's I don't know. Well, it's not CTA. It's not CTA, but I just want to say that I did report that to the city, and I don't know what Medicare is doing. I have Medicare, and when these things, when I get billed, like they ask you when you go in, is somebody else responsible for this bill? And well, yeah, the city is. It was, that was a big problem. Now, speaking of accessibility, you realize the third floor of city council is not accessible.
Oh,
It's stairs. There's no ramp up there. So they're gonna have to do something about that. They should have done it years ago anyway, because that's the overflow room. Why is it that people who are able to walk stairs, why is it people who can't walk stairs, why aren't they allowed up there? Why isn't there provision for that?
right.
Well, this is the center of the city. This is the government, the city government.
Thanks for the insight, Kathy. We did not know about that. When you filed a complaint with the city, what did the city respond? Did they give you any compensation? And you mentioned Medicare. Did Medicare bill the city?
I don't know. The bill got paid, so I wasn't even part of it. So I don't know.
So this goes for both the city hall, city council chambers, fall, and the Roosevelt State, was it Roosevelt Station escalator fall?
Right. You know, like I said, they didn't break any bones or anything. I don't know. I don't know what happened with the bill. I guess it got paid. That was, yeah, over a year ago. That's not saying the bill still might not pop up. You know how that is with medical things. So I
But
don't know.
there are options for public comment, written submitted public comment. I think that the CTA needs to read the public comment if you submit it in writing. Have you ever done that for the CTA board meetings?
I haven't done it. I haven't done this set up before. Actually, I've been. It's been interesting. I tag access living sometimes. You know, with the elevators being out or things that are going on with the CTA. And I'm kind of connected with them. I get nothing from them. I get no answer from them at all. Progress Center of Illinois, they're interested. They're very interested. So the Progress Center for Independent Living, they're interested. You know, the groups, I'm in some groups that help with accessibility issues and fight for them. So, you know, I'm really thinking about putting together an army about this, because I report. Let me go through my outline. I want to talk about the elevators. There's at least 11 out a day. 11, and usually it's more like 14. Today it's 7. Lately, I've been running across the entrances to the elevators being blocked. You know, for like where the wheelchairs go through the turnstiles, they've been blocked, and evidently they've been upgrading them, and they just shut down the whole thing, and they don't give any notice that they're going to do this. So I was coming home from an event downtown, and I went down to Jackson, and this was at night, so I was a little wary being downtown after 8 o'clock at night. I went down there, and the whole door is like all taped up with the yellow tape. And there was a guy working on one of the turnstiles, and I said, "Can you help me get in?" And he said, "Oh no, I'm just here to fix this." He said, "You have to ask in the office." Well, there was nobody there. There was nobody there at 8 o'clock at night downtown. I want to know why there was nobody there at 8 o'clock downtown. Wonder why there's all this vandalism and stuff there. It's like an open door. It's like an open door. They need somebody there 24/7, in my opinion. They want to, and some of these elevators are out because of vandalism. Well, if you had somebody watching the store, maybe there wouldn't be so many vandalized.
What happened to you then on that night? Since you couldn't get couldn't get through the turnstile, then what happened?
I went back up to the street, and I thought, God, I'm going to have to walk all the way up to Washington to get the other elevator. You have to know where these elevators are when you have these mobility issues. Well, I was walking up State Street, and then the sidewalk was closed around Adams. And I thought, well, and there's an elevator there. I don't know when that elevator emerged, but there's an elevator there, which is also considered the Jackson stop. But the sidewalk was blocked. But then I crossed the street, and now I'm annoyed. First I was panicked, then I was annoyed that the sidewalk was blocked. And then it said, except for the CTA elevator. So I went down and used that elevator, and it worked out. It worked out. But otherwise I would have had to walk up to either have to walk up to Washington to get the other elevator or take a bus.
I have to say, just something that I noticed is when going to the CTA monthly board meetings, the elevator always works. It's in premium condition. It's clean. There's no graffiti. There's no problem. It's in CTA headquarters. Why can't we have this level of quality, this quality standard in all stations for the public?
Well, you think about it, CTA has guards there 24 hours a day. It's a business building. And so they have, they're being taken care of, but they're not anywhere else. Oh, the one in Jackson, that just drove me crazy. I thought, why isn't there somebody here? Why isn't there somebody here? There's so much stuff that goes on. Why isn't there somebody here?
Was there any option, did you notice, was there any button where you could call for help where you were on Jackson, at Jackson?
If there was, I didn't waste a whole lot of time looking around for it.
Mhm.
Because I didn't want to be standing there waiting for somebody to come. If in fact anybody would come, I push those buttons and nothing happens. So nobody answers or anything. So I just,
Are you saying that not only at Jackson, at the other train stations too, when you push the button, there's no guarantee that someone would answer? Is that what you mean?
That's right. I was at Ashland and Lake, and there's a problem with that elevator, and I pushed the button and nothing. And there was I know somebody was up there, but nobody answered. Either the thing was broken or they just weren't answering. I don't know.
So have you had any issues with the red purple line modernization project? Example, the Argyle stop, the new Argyle stop is on Foster, and there's over 50 stairs and there's no elevator or escalator. Have you had
Right.
issues with that?
Well, I couldn't use a stop anyway, even when it wasn't being redone, because it was not an accessible station. It will be, as a matter of fact, it will be. The thing about the Red Line Purple modernization project is, there's a lot of improvements that are going to be made. On the north side, the only accessible stops are Howard, Loyola, Granville, and Wilson. And then, if you go down past that area, then there's Addison, Belmont, Fullerton, and then downtown. Go downtown. That's it. Addison is out a lot, and I don't know particularly why. I know at Addison, when they're having a ball game, they turn off the escalator because the escalator can't carry so much weight for such a period of time. So they turn off the escalator. So then, people who take the escalator have to take the elevator, if they really have issues and they really need to, not climb the stairs. But that happens at Addison all the time. But lately, the elevator's been going out a lot. I don't know why. Maybe because it's just being overused. I don't know. But Wilson's been, out a lot. And I think that has to do with it being used for both north and south traffic, because they're only doing one side of the track at a time. So now they're on the next phase. So now they're on the east side tracks, because there will be no west side tracks, at least coming down. It's like, it's quite. I'm fascinated by the whole thing. It's amazing what they're doing. They had to build in this little tiny area between the buildings and where the tracks were. They're making the tracks higher so more trucks can get underneath them now, don't get stuck. So like at Foster, I wouldn't have been able to use that. Berwyn, I wouldn't have been able to use that stop. Berwyn and Argyle, because it wasn't accessible. You just can't.
Have you tried any way to contact the CTA about these problems?
They know. In fact, when they had their first online meeting about the project, I asked the question to them. I said, "Did you put more 36 buses on?" And they looked like I asked if they fed elephants or something. It was like what? And I said, now you've taken out, there's no Lawrence stop, there's no Berwyn stop, and more people are riding the buses because they can't ride the train. And they were like, oh, no, oh, well, we'll check into it. And I don't know if they did or not, because we didn't get any more 36 buses. That's one of my things. There are not enough buses.
Mhm.
So yeah, when you can't take the train, oh, one more thing, it just drives me insane. I don't know if you've ever seen this, but if the train is not properly planed against the platform when it pulls in, a wheelchair has to have somebody come out and drag out this big manual ramp, put the ramp down. I mean, it probably takes at least 10 minutes. So the train has to be stopped so a wheelchair can get on or off. And then the guy has to put the thing back. Sometimes they make the operator do it. Sometimes somebody's there ahead of time to take care of it. It's crazy. And one of the places that doesn't plane properly is Loyola. Loyola, I've actually watched it because I had to lift my thing up to, it's like a whole stair worth of not being even with the platform. It's it's crazy. It's crazy. You think they'd fix that? Nope. Well,
I just, yeah, go ahead.
Well, about at least 3 times a week, I report something to the CTA on their feedback line. You can send them an email. It's called feedback@Transit Chicago or something.
Mhm.
And, I report things about the buses mostly. Sometimes the ramps don't work on the bus. Some of the operators are really annoyed that they have to drop the ramp. How would they like to live like this? Where you have to have this assisted device. They roll their eyes. Oh my God! You think you'd ask them for the world, and then some of the bus drivers don't wait till the passengers are seated. I've been thrown into my seat. I don't know how many times. They're supposed to wait till you say okay.
Mhm.
Sometimes because there aren't enough buses, you end up with buses that have a lot of people with walkers and wheelchairs, grocery carts, baby strollers, all trying to get in on the same bus. Now, the bus driver, to me, is supposed to, make sure that everybody gets in there safe and sound. Oh, sometimes it's almost like a war in there because he'll let them on, but then he won't help them out. So I say he could be she. And at least now, I think people are starting, at least on the buses and stuff, to at least try and be a little bit kind. I'm finally getting some kindness on the 36 bus. The 36 bus, the Broadway bus, they're nasty. People yell at each other. One time, a lady couldn't get on at Foster because the bus was extremely crowded because, they're only running them like every half hour. That's a major road, I don't know. So we were at Foster and the guy pulled in, and I mean, there was one person just standing there without a walker couldn't get on. That's how crowded it was. And this lady was annoyed with the walker and she was yelling at the bus driver, dropping a lot of obscenities. And then she pulled her walker in front of the bus so he couldn't move. So they had to call the police. When the police came, they just had her move, and she did. And that was that. But I felt her. I felt her anger. I have felt like doing that sometimes. But, a lot of good it does. She still couldn't get on the bus. And, we were there 20, 25 minutes. And there still wasn't another 36 bus behind us. So that tells you, does that tell you something? It's just not good enough. And this was like 4:30 in the afternoon. So, people are going home from places. There are not enough buses. They just
Let's talk about timing a little bit. Have you noticed a lot of bus bunching and ghosting of buses?
Yeah, well, I have a story last week, which is when I really got annoyed. I was coming home from Mariano's at Foster and Sheridan. And it was like, oh, I think I was going to meet you guys, and I never did because I couldn't. I was waiting for the bus, I had to wait for 7 buses there before I could get on. What happens is the 147 comes around from Lakeshore Drive. The 151 comes up Sheridan. The 135 comes from Lakeshore Drive, and that just goes to Devon, which is all I needed. I couldn't get on any of those. I had to wait. That was the longest I've ever had to wait for a bus. 6 buses went by. I got on the 7th.
It was on account of them being too full, right?
Right. It was, all of downtown was on these buses.
When you submitted the feedback forms to the CTA, did the CTA ever respond to you?
Oh yeah, I get first I get a confirmation response right away, and then later on they say, well, they always apologize for my poor experience. I can almost write this myself, and that they're referring it to the management responsible for that area. Some of the buses don't have I don't know what's going on, not paying the electric bill or something. The display lights on the outside or the inside aren't working. So a bus might pull up and you don't know what bus it is. If you're waiting at Devon and Magnolia, as I told you, I hate waiting there. You get the 151 bus going through there, a 155 bus going through there, and a 151 going through there. You need to know what bus is coming. And a lot of times you can't. So I report things like that. If the wheelchair seats are up, there's like a yellow tape going on there, and you can press on that, and that's if you're in a wheelchair, you can't reach up to the top thing to pull to say you need to stop. You can press on these yellow things, and it lets them know that you need to get off there. And it's especially for wheelchairs, for people who are down low. Sometimes they're just hanging off the seat. I report those. Sometimes, you probably experienced. Sometimes you might press the cord to get off, and it doesn't work.
Right.
The other side of the bus might work, but your side doesn't work.
Or the bus driver doesn't stop. That's happened too, or stops a little bit later and apologizes.
Yep.
So how about since we're talking about this, have you ever experienced the annunciator having an issue? A lot of people who have vision issues have been during a recent interview had an issue with the annunciator being wrong.
They get like out of sequence sometimes. And if you don't know, if you don't know where you are, if you look out the window and you don't know where you are, that could be a real problem. That happens on the train too. It'll tell you you're like at Sheridan, and no, you're not at Sheridan. You're at Wilson, or you're at Addison. It gets out of sync. And then sometimes you don't have an annunciator at all. If you ride the Brown line, which I hate to do, there is no visual display of where you are. There is no annunciator there at all. So you really have to be able, and God forbid if you're blind and you can't see out the window, you don't know where you are. How would you know? I don't know.
In the dark, it's very hard to see where you are if you're riding the bus without the annunciator. I've tried on my regular bus.
And when it gets like dusk, it's really hard to see out, because I don't know why. It's something about the lighting. It's really hard to see where you are.
And
or if there's like a whole bunch of people there, you can't see out. If you're standing in the aisle among all these people, you can't see. You
Right.
can't see. And now people aren't wearing masks on the bus, and there's like 1,000 cases of COVID a day. So nobody cares. Nobody wants to wear the mask. And when you wear the mask is mainly so that you don't spread what you have to somebody else. And because there's no symptoms anymore, particularly, you don't know if you've got something. I wear a mask, and I would feel really terrible if I made somebody else sick. It doesn't protect you much at all, but if everybody wore a mask, it would protect everybody. But there you go.
you mentioned earlier that some of the display lights are out, and are you able to ask the bus driver before getting on what bus this actually is?
Oh yeah, especially when there's no display, you have to ask, and then they're kind of pissed off that you're asking them. And maybe they don't know their display doesn't work. I always tell them it doesn't. I always wonder when I tell them things about, that are broken on the bus or something, do they report it or do they just not? So I report it. I don't care. It gets reported. If I see it, it gets reported. You'll see me get on the bus sometimes, sit down and right away get on my phone and start doing my email to CTA, because you have to say what stop you're at when something is wrong, which way it was going, what bus number it is, what route number it is, what time of day it is, what day it is. You have to have all that in there, because if you're missing one item, they'll ask you, well, what day was this? Like I might say 5 o'clock at night, but they'll say, well, what day? 5 o'clock at night. They have the bus number. It's not like, well, I guess it's easier for them. So I have it down pat pretty much. Sometimes I forget something and I'm mad at myself because I forget. But
are there other CTA riders that are organizing with you to make these issues that you're describing to us known to the CTA and asking the CTA to do something about it?
well, I've floated the idea along the Broadway, the 36 bus route, to make a petition and just have people sign it saying, we've had to wait for the bus way too long. Where are the buses? Something like that. Make a petition. So, and everybody, I talk at the bus stops, and I ask them, would you? Because we always gripe. We gripe to each other all the time. That's the problem with people, though. They gripe to each other and they don't address it to who can actually do something. But everybody I suggested that petition to, they all like the idea. So I still might do it.
When you get on the bus, your stand-up walker is huge. Do bus drivers ever ask you to arrange it so that the walker is not obstructing the aisle?
No, I haven't, but I did want to address this. Some seniors use their grocery carts as their assistive device. They can't buy their groceries and use their walker all at the same time. They just can't do it. So they use the walker, and then they use the grocery cart, and the bus drivers are real nasty about it. And, I don't know. They just don't get it. They just don't think outside the box, I guess. I don't know. I remember I got on a Broadway bus, and there was a lady on there, and she actually had a hand truck on there. She's sitting in a handicapped spot, a hand truck, and it was loaded with sacks of rice. And that took up all the handicapped spots. And I just wondered why she was even allowed on the bus like that. I mean, I don't know.
Are there other issues with the CTA and accessibility that you haven't described yet, Kathy?
I'm looking at my list, I just, kindness goes a long way. And some of the operators are wonderful, absolutely wonderful. And I report them too about how wonderful they are, because, especially, and I feel really sorry for the CTA employees, because the management with them, they're awful too. They're really mean to them. So like,
how do you know, Kathy?
how do I know?
Mhm.
Because I talk to them. I talk to bus drivers.
Mm.
What happened? Oh, and like, I remember once on 155, I reported one of the drivers giving me a problem about the ramp or something. I reported her because I don't take that for 2 seconds.
Mhm.
And then so she said, "Wow, now you got to sit down right away. You made a report about this." And then she was real nasty again. And I thought, how are you going to feel about the second report going in on you? Like, I don't know. I don't know. But I know, especially this usually happens during rush hour. The 147 drivers are not very nice either, actually. But when they get late, I mean, they get late not because they stopped at McDonald's and had a dinner and, and then were late because of that. No, they're late because of traffic. The buses that are late are generally the routes that go downtown, which that makes a lot of sense. There's a lot of things that go on downtown that stop the buses, including, actions and stuff. We block the streets and stuff to make a point. And if you're far away from downtown, you don't know why there are any buses. That's sometimes why the buses end up in clumps, because they've been blocked downtown, and then they all break through wherever they break through, and then they get all together because they're all late. That's how that usually happens. That looks to 151 a lot for me on the north side, 36. All those buses that go downtown, and 147, I don't know what it is about those drivers, but I talk to other people that have disability issues on the bus, and we discuss things. On the bus. And there was this one lady, I wanted to ramp drive. She said, if she wanted to ramp drive, she just had a regular walker, and that driver didn't want to do it. Anybody can ask for the ramp to go down. You don't need to even have anything. They got to do it.
Right, there's a sign right at the door saying that the driver must lower the ramp upon request.
Right, that's right. And they don't want to, because it takes up a little bit of time, like, So this one lady said, "Oh, well, good luck with that." Oh, she was trying to get off, and she didn't have. She might have had a walker, and the driver didn't want to put it down, and so they had a little argument, and he put it down, and then I came behind because they put it down for me anyway, and so we talked about it afterwards, and I said, "Wow," and I said, and she said, "These drivers do this all the time. They're so nasty about it." And I said, "What? Did you report it?" She said, "Nobody will report things to CTA. They just take it. Why take it? That's so wrong. It's so wrong." Now, those are things that if I were management, I would probably make an issue out of. When I posted on Facebook my bruises that I got from a couple of bus problems, when the operators, when they don't let you sit down first before they take off like a shot. And I lost my point there. I got a lot of, in fact, I when I put these things out, I started tagging CTA, RTA, the mayor's office, some transit groups I'm in, and now Dave Savini at CBS, who I asked him a while ago on LinkedIn if he would do a story about this, right? and he never answered me. And we've had conversations on email before, so it's not like he's a stranger to me or anything. So he didn't say anything about it. And then when I tagged him on Facebook the first time, he liked a comment or something that he was tagged in. And so I went back to LinkedIn and I said, well, now that I have your attention on Facebook, will you do a story about it? He still hasn't said anything, but I really think that an investigative reporter would do the most good. Not little Kathy Powers with her stand-up walker.
When you submit all these feedback forms, they do respond to you, but down along in the future, are there any improvements, or do things remain the same, or do they get worse?
I don't. You know what? I'm thinking there might be more Broadway buses now within the past week, so maybe that's happening. And also, I've noticed that all the drivers now are waiting for people to sit down. They may be chomping at the bit and stuff, and I think that happened because of what I posted on CTA with my bruises and stuff.
And when was your post about the bruise? What was the approximate date of that?
Which one? Which one?
Post about your bruises, and just trying to gauge how long it took between your post and the bus drivers now waiting for people to sit down before driving.
Well, those I was reporting those every time it happened. You know, it happened to me every time. It was like, I'd say once every 2 weeks it would be that way. You know, I'd run into somebody that would do that. And like I said, in the past week or so, it's been a whole lot better. And I think somebody in Redland Riot Act, because you know they could get sued. Although, you know, like I would sue them if I could, but like I said, I don't have any broken bones. What am I going to sue about? Bruises? Not really. It's kind of a pain and suffering, but you know, it's just a bruise.
Well, Kathy Powers, thank you so much for joining us on WZRD Chicago 88.3 FM today. And thank you for all your insight, and good luck to you. Hopefully, just keep on fighting, and hopefully the CTA will become more accessible in the future.
Thank you,
I
Kathy.
hope so too. Thank you for letting me spout.
Thank you.